If you are a founder or a product manager and your roadmap, your stuff to build is, always busy, but you're not able to move your metrics, you're not able to move growth for the business, or you're not able to move retention or more people signing up, something might be wrong. Most probably, you're probably following the wrong playbook. But here's a few lessons from Marty Kagan, his most infamous book, Inspired. I read it a few years ago, and I think a lot of lessons learned in it are still valuable. So we're going to cover five main ideas from the book, plus like a one-page action checklist that you can possibly steal. Maybe there's a few learnings there for you, maybe not. Well, it's for you to find out, but hopefully there are a few. So number one, the root cause of all failed products. It's waterfall that's actually disguised as agile, right? So people think they're operating in an agile environment, but in reality, it's waterfall, right? And if you're not familiar with waterfall, it's where an executive tells a director something to do something, director tells his manager, manager tells the product manager. It's, think of it like a waterfall. Now, versus that, agile requires a lot of bottom up efficiency, where product manager has complete autonomy. They're able to direct things. They're able to call certain parts of a product. They're able to iterate. They're able to deselect parts of the product. Whatever they want to do, they have complete control over. So that's more and more agile. And it also works very much in conjunction with the designer, with engineers, with AI counterparts. So very much like functioning as a unit instead of a top-down management or manager telling you to do something. Right. And that's what we see these days as well. Like a lot of product managers will make a roadmap and commit to it for 2 months, for 3 months, maybe even 6 months. They'll have requirements documentation, right? And work with the designers on UX, etc. And then a sprint where the developers build it, and then a QA. And the cycle might seem like agile to you. It's really not, right? Engineers are joining last when all decisions are frozen. And more often than not, success is really just measured by if you launched a feature on time, not necessarily by impact, right? And this is like it's a very classic dilemma in a lot of businesses where 50% of a delivery team or engineers, well, like what they build, doesn't move any sort of metric for a business, but it just ships, right? And that opportunity cost alone is brutal, especially for younger businesses, younger startups. Like you've now built something that the customer didn't even really want. You have engineers on the payroll, designers on the payroll, product on the payroll. This is a very, very important concept. Shipping does not mean success. Which leads me to my second point, outcome over output. Marty Kagan is a big believer. Like, what did you achieve from this action that you built, right? What is the actual achievement versus just output, right? Strong teams are pitching a problem to solve, not necessarily a feature to build, right? So you can choose if you want to build a feature after feature after feature, or if you want to focus on a problem, like how do we activate a user? And in thinking more about the problem, you'll get a clearer picture of how to achieve an outcome for business versus an output. Number three, and Marty King is really big on this, is the trio and continuous discovery, where the engineer, the designer, the product manager should sit very closely to each other, right? They should sit in a trio where they almost are like facing each other to continuously iterate and talk about aspects of the product. He calls this the heartbeat of an empowered product team, right? Because you're able to run discovery in parallel. You're able to bounce ideas off of each other. In today's day and age, you can also vibe code very easily. Although Marty Kingan doesn't talk about it, but there's a lot of tools out there like Cursor AI or Claude Code, which will help you prototype very, very quickly, right? And four key risks are attacked very much head front, which is the value risk, the usability risk, feasibility risk, and viability risk, right? You tackle it up front, and you're quickly able to talk about it with key counterparts such as engineering and designers versus putting it in a spec and then coming across it. Four is Marty Kagan is actually very against roadmaps. He believes in outcome-based roadmaps, not commitments. If you do have pressure from executives or board members, if you're a CEO, whatever, to launch something by certain dates, you can offer instead a high integrity commitment, which validates a product, right? That it's been user tested, it's been validated in front of user before you push it forward. And that brings a lot of trust and confidence, right? That you're going to build a prototype, you're going to get validation, and you're obviously going to save the business some brand risk as well, right? Like if something is great and works out, users love it, push it, ship it. If something is not great and a lot of users are hesitant or they don't like the direction the product's going in, you'll save the brand image before it ever goes live to users, right? It protects not just trust, it also protects velocity in another way because then you can pivot into building something else. And lastly, he focuses very closely, the fifth point, on bringing culture of missionaries, not mercenaries. Like not mercenaries that just want to execute a project and get it over with, but missionaries that want to build something that's here for the longer term, right? You're not just going to build a feature, you're going to build a project and then call it a day. You're going to be here, you're going to get feedback and then iterate and then better it, right? Right. And there's a couple points into what he stresses here. One is like automated testing is critical for this, right? So great teams should release multiple times in a day. And then second is like great PMs also like work in analytics for the first 30 minutes of their days. The first 30 minutes of the day, a lot of great product managers are with the analytics of a product so they can understand where users are clicking, where they're going, what they're doing. And that usually helps a lot for great empowered teams, right? He says velocity dies when product managers are treated like project managers, engineers are shielded from customers, or decision requires just approval from too many stakeholders, like 12 VPs or something. So those are Marty Kagan's 5 points. Hopefully, maybe something useful. If not, maybe this checklist here can help you out a little bit. This is a rapid fire checklist. Number one is perhaps looking at rewriting some of your user stories or epics into more outcome based statements. Like, what do you hope will happen for the user? What do you think will happen for the business? What's the outcome, right? Not necessarily an output. And there's a difference here. Number two is maybe book a 45-minute jam session with your engineer, with your designer, if you're a product manager, if you're a CEO, and just jam with them, right? Like riff raff on them, come up with ideas, look at current analytics, bring problems to the table, and just talk to them. You have to break down those barriers so that people can express themselves. Number three is a prototype gate. No feature can hit your roadmap or go live without having been prototyped in front of users. This is a gate that every feature has to pass through. That's a non negotiable. Number four is draft instead of a traditional feature based roadmap, draft a OKR based roadmap. So, what that means is you only have problems and metrics, problems and metrics, problems and metrics. And that's what you do, right? This is the problem that a user is facing. This is the metric I hope to improve, not necessarily features. And this gets you thinking in a mindset of, I might build a feature or not. Does this feature have an impact? And then lastly is share your learnings weekly. Every week, have a 15-minute discovery call with your stakeholders, your partners, where you're constantly sharing learnings. You're learning at interviews and user surveys, etc. Other means, have a constant meeting for that. So yeah, that's a quick summary of Marty Kagan Inspired. I do think you should go and read the book yourself. I think I summed up around 67 or 69 chapters in maybe these few minutes. So I've definitely not done justice to it. So if you're really interested in the product, if you're really interested in the book, I do recommend reading it. Your time will not go to waste. But yeah, if not, like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And I'll see you next time. See ya. Bye.